Once again, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Raphael, a community guide in KwaZulu-Natal, working at Kamberg Nature Center. This is where I belong at the moment. So I have been there for a long time, for 25 years. So what I'm gonna do in this presentation, it's about community management and rock art management comments and reflection on 25 years of rock art guiding and management. Okay. So in this presentation, I will give an overview of the Game Pass tourism experience. So I share my impressions and experiences of the Game Pass tourism initiative. I discuss the facilities and infrastructure of the Kamberg Nature Center, points of interest and significance along the way to the site, images of the rock art site and the images. I reflect on the question of whether Game Pass has reached its limit in terms of the number of tourists it can attract. So I invite comments from the delegates. Who I am, so I was born and bred in Tendela village, KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa. I am a Zulu person. My clan name is Mnikathi, Kapela, Kwenza, Makoko. So this is my clan name. So the picture next to me, this is my grandmother. So they were all like the people that they were interested when the center was started 20 years ago, blah, blah, blah. So, okay. So there is a strong link between the village and the Rock Art Center and Game Pass Rock Art Shelter. Sen descendants live in the village, the Duma family. So I'll discuss about the Elen ceremony as we go on. So this is how the Rock Art Center looks like as it is now at the moment. Oh. Okay, this was the message from the Tendela community. So it is customary in both the Zulu and San tradition to welcome all visitors to their area. This welcome is traditional, a community event where people would line the path and greet the visitor. So above are the portraits of ambassadors from the Tendela community and the Sen. These portraits symbolize the traditional welcome and mark the beginning of the pilgrimage back in time to experience a heritage and culture that is nestled within the striking scenery of the Ukahlamba Drakensberg Park. Okay. So these are all people of Sen descendant who are from Tendela village. All of them have now passed away. So this lady, she died last year at the age of 101 years. So she was still alive till he reached on that year. Yeah. So now it's only Richard Duma and his family remain. So Melanie, I need your help. So I need to bring that slide. Oh, oh, okay, I can. Yes, I can. Because it was supposed to be under Richard Duma's. All right, okay. So this is Richard Duma. He is the Bushman descendant and the leader of the San descendant in Tendela community. Okay, so my experience, I have been a guide for 25 years at Kamberg Rock Art Center. I was a manager of the Rock Art Center for 8 years. So this is my badge that I'm holding for guiding at the moment. Sure. So now I'm taking you to Game Pass on the visit to Game Pass shelter. So for those who are familiar with the area, if you look further up there, this is where Game Pass is. The Bushman paintings are there. So let's go through some point of interest. So when you look there's a mountain called Ingeleni over there. So unfortunately, that mountain is on the private farm. So the farmer the farmer near that Ingeleni mountain, he's not happy because the Tendela community, they go there and do some rituals because they believe that it is a sacred mountain. So Ingeleni, it's coxcomb, come back in Afrikaans. So when there is drought, the people in our community, especially the elder people and the church people, go there to pray for rain, because in our village, when there is no rain, our crops cannot grow well. So as you see me pointing like this, no one is allowed to point it with a finger. So when you point at that mountain, we use a clenched fist like this, or we use an arm like this, because this is a holy mountain. Okay, you see there is a yellow arrow here. This is another sacred place here. We call it a mushroom rock. Most of the people in Tendela village believe that this is where the storm gathered, and they believe that there is a snake there. So this is also a holy, holy, holy mushroom rock here. Okay, on the way up to Game Pass, there are a couple of trees, indigenous trees, that you can point it out along the way. So we have tree fern, common tree fern that grow with the trunk, elevating the fronds above ground level, making them the trees. So it's not easy to recover after fire. As you can see, this one, it's completely dead. This is a common tree fern. And then this is the most popular garden plant in our village. And the traditional healers, they use it for magical purposes. This is Protea. So the national flower of South Africa comes from this tree. So it's more like a neat fire, but not a big fire, just for the seed to germinate. And then next to the Protea is a footpath to Game Pass shelter. As everyone see that it's clear, no litter, and it's open. In my 25 years of guiding, I haven't been any incident here. There are snakes, but I haven't been any problem. Okay. Here, this is the 19th century cattle kraal made by Bantu-speaking farmers. It was built with stone just for the Bantu farmers to lock up their domesticated animals and cattle. Okay, we are still on the way to Game Pass. So this is Festuca grass that I'm holding. It was planted by Richard Duma. Richard Duma planted a species of this Festuca for cleansing because he said some people visiting the site in which they are contaminated by dirty, by emotions, events, and activities occurrence in their lives which they carry. So with them to decide, because Game Pass is a religious sacred place like a church. Okay. So now we are at the waterfall. The significance for the community is being used by members of Zionists. Bushman paintings are here also at the waterfall. We use the word Bushman, not the San. We use this word with respect. They go there and baptize people and collect water because they feel that the water is spiritual. It's a living water. What also makes this waterfall so significant, there are also Bushman paintings. They believe that when they pray, baptize here, their prayers will be answered because of the Bushman paintings. There are also tree fossils here. So this is waterfall. So the picture in the background, this is the waterfall shelter itself. So when the Zionists, like 2 weeks ago, I was having 2 German people taking them to Game Pass. The Zionists, they were here doing some offerings here. I saw some traditional beer, and then they were burning a lot of candles and make some offerings. So it was a mess up during that day. Okay, now this is another infrastructure. This is the Woods Bridge. So without this bridge, we won't be able to get across on the way to Game Pass, or because there is a river, especially in summer. So it's difficult. So it's still in good state, this Woods Bridge. Now we are at Game Pass. Shelter Cave. Please note, access is strictly accompanying unless accompanied by a registered guide. Trespassers will be prosecuted. So we are still like applying the code of conduct. Okay, you see Game Pass now, sorry. It's fenced and it's always locked. As you can see me, I'm opening the padlock and it's got a gate here. Right. We are inside now the Game Pass shelter. So you see, I'm pointing here, this rock. This is not a natural rock, this is artificial. So somebody who was very clever when we were building this footpath, so he thought that we have to make something that will blend with the natural rocks. So it's building sand with cement, and then there's an iron, if you can look careful over here, make sure that it's stabilized. Okay. So this is Game Pass shelter now. This is first panel with some paintings behind me. This is the second panel, the antelope people. This is the Rosetta panel, which is the third panel. So the famous panel. So from Louis Williams, he has done a lot of research to this Rosetta panel. Like Dr. Mnguni, Siaka Mnguni, he also done some research, a lot of research in this site, as well as Dr. Nduguya Kindlovu. Okay, move on. This is how Rosetta panel itself look like. This is the whole Rosetta panel here. This is the main panel, which is panel number 4. So this panel is still in good condition and the paintings are still more colorful. Okay, so these are the paintings from also the last panel, the main panel. Okay, now Game Pass is one of the most important sites in South Africa in terms of local tourism and also for archaeologists, anthropologists, and other researchers. Game Pass is in good condition. We look after it. No one is allowed unless accompanied by a community guide, essentially because otherwise this site is vulnerable. Let's move on. However, there are some challenges and problems. Relative low numbers of visitors. We want more people to come. For income, not fully employed by Zemvelo, to enjoy and appreciate our heritage. Rock Art Center started with a restaurant, a cura shop, a bookshop with a focus on rock art books. Now there is nothing. Center managed by Zemvelo, not community. We feel we are not playing a good role in our center. The community feels bad because this center was made for the community to generate income. How can we improve, change the situation? Oops. No. It is possible, I think possibly we need steering committee that will liaise between Zemvelo and the community guides. Possible all stakeholders should be involved, Heritage Institute, museum, tourist board, marketing and publicity. Increase the number of visitors. So I phoned yesterday to my colleague, the last number we had for November, it was 20 people cutting to the register. In 2001, 8 guides were trained, but only 2 of us remain now because there was not enough income to sustain that large numbers. If we can bring back the restaurant and the cura bookshop, I think we'll have a better income. This is how the Rock Art Center looks like. So it's look attractive when you look it, but when you enter there is nothing interesting. So this is the second building, which is this one. It's audio-visual show, so it's still in good place and everything is still operated here, there. Okay, acknowledgement. So I would like to thank following people and organization, COSMO-ART and the organizers of this conference, the community of Tendela, Zemvelo, KZN Wildlife, Amafa Heritage, KZN Museum, Dr. Jeremy Holman, Dr. Justin Winches, and then I thank you, Yabonga.
Just before to give you the mic, I have a question. You present the different uses and the perception of the sites that we have during the hike with a lot of meaningful experience that we have on the way. Also, you explain on the waterfall, for example, and also the herbs to be purified when you enter into the site. But as far as I remember, as a tourist, when we are going to visit the site, we are not being told about that. We have information about the landscape, and then after about the rock art, how the rock art have been made, occur, and things like that. But no one speak about the sacred mountain at the beginning. Yes, this one that we show like that. But the other one, the mushroom mountains, I'm discovering this one today. And also the snake, the story of the snake. So my question, it is more also a large question to everyone, linked also with the aim of this session number 5. In order to decolonize rock art tourism, if we also don't have to think how to include this kind of element into the narrative that the tourists will listen. Because if the tourists, they only listen the classical discourses, how old it is, how it has been made, blah, blah, blah. And if we don't have any information about the baptism, the uses of Zion Church, the uses also for the Sangoma, you know, it's the way how tourist narrative it is now, it reproduce a kind of discourses. So it just yet perhaps to decolonize, to go further in this direction, it's really an urgent matter now to integrate these different uses in the discourses that is said to the visitors. So sorry, I take the privilege to be the organizer to do this first comment. So Kelvin. Kelvin and then Macmillan.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the colorful and thought-provoking presentation. I once gave this argument, and I think I will maintain it, that the concept of you mentioned rightly that you are struggling in trying to raise the number of visitors on the sites. And I was thinking that it will help if we try and also target the local visitors, because they may, I know there's a tier system whereby foreigners pay more, and I think it's the same with back home in Zim. But still, if we make sure that we increase on the numbers on the local tourists, those numbers will count. But unfortunately, what the local visitors target is quite different from what the international tourists come for. I once gave this example that I once took a group of international tourists to Great Zimbabwe. And they woke me up at 4 a.m. To go on top of the hill so that they would not miss the first rays of sunrise. You see? But here in Africa, no one will wake up at that time to go and see the sun, because we can see the sun from anywhere. So what fascinates us is quite different. You get what I'm saying? So I'm thinking that if we want to increase the number of visitors to these sites, we must think about those things that entertain the locals. Because sometimes, yes, we may, this is our profession. We must conserve rock art and do all sorts of things. But some of these things, we always met them when we were heading cattle and things like that. So we may not choose to pay to see rock art because it's there in our villages. It's there everywhere, you know, that kind of things. So I'm saying, like for an example of what we are now doing at Domboshava back home, there's a proposal that we are adding a zip line and those, you know, entertainment facilities for children, slides and things like that. Some may come just for that, to have a family fun day. And integrating such things with the rock art will bring more visitors, especially the local ones, and it will generate interest for repeat visits because they are coming for something else, which is not just to see the same picture every other time. Thank you.
Nick would like to add something directly to what have been said. Macmillan, I'm not forgotten you.
Yeah, just very quickly. I think we're just looking at it too narrowly as foreign visitors or tourists coming in. What is stopping you from getting the local school kids in the area, 50,000 kids, to the center? You've got the sunk costs of the infrastructure. You've got the sunk costs of the tour guides. So what is stopping you from bringing those kids in? That's a different way of valuing that site. What are the barriers? I'd like to hear, just make use of that site.
All right. When Amafa, they were still involved in that project, so they were able to go door-to-door school just to market the center. They were going door-to-door school. So as Mvelo now, they take over, and then now there is nothing that are doing. So this is the problem.
And the question of Kelvin?
The marketing problem. It's lacking now.
And for the question of Kelvin, do you have another things to answer?
Sorry?
From Kelvin, the question that he asks, if you have another comment or
Yeah. I'll make a note for that. But now I'll go to the people on the ground and say, if you can do this, if you can do this. And then you say, okay, but it's going to abandon that.
Alors, I have to say, I will not be able to take all the questions. So first it was here, Macmillan, and then after I have also Curtis, Dimakatso, Ndukuyake, Erika, Ilren, so Ed Takunda. So yeah, I'm sorry, I will not be able.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think the one is just right on what was said. For me, places like Rock Art, what has worked well is getting to schools. Even as we get to schools, those who are nearby, we give them incentives on maybe if they are coming in, they come at half rate or something like that. For us, it has worked well. But then I was asking myself, if the numbers are so low, how far is the nearest developed town to that place itself? If maybe I can be guided, and also roughly what's the population of that town? Because I think what has come out clear is that in most Rock Art places or sites, visitations are very low. And what I've learned I think in the years I've been in this field is that most locals, they don't want to visit cultural sites. For me, like in Zambia, if you go to any waterfall at weekends, it will be packed. There'll be a lot of people, but get to a cultural site. So the idea of looking at the landscape where someone was suggesting zip lines. So we do product development just to improve on the product we go and do there. Because I can't go and see a Rock Art site maybe 3 times. Second time, I'm done because I know what I'll find. Nothing has changed. So then what should take me back there? So it's the issue of, I think, maybe product development. The last one is, you said you can't point with a finger. Imagine I went there, deliberately I point, what would happen to me?
You have something to answer, Raphael?
No, I think I have covered everything. So now, thank you so much for your input.
So I can take a last question. So please hang your hand and I will do a typical French game. So it's Terence who have the right to ask the last question.
Thank you so much. It was good to see the pictures of the people who are occupying the space, and also to hear from someone who's walking the ground. I think that's what I want to say. But I've realized that there's different interpretation of the mountain, the same mountain. KwaZulu-Natal is Ukahamba. I think it extends to Lesotho as Maludi. So I will be interested to see, how these different experiences, collaborate together, how you can link your project with Matopo and other people working around the higher spaces.
This one, I think it can take a time to plan something like that. It can take a time because we have our own policy. The Lesotho has got their own policy. Botswana has got their own policy. I don't know if you get me clearly.